Hey there, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into something pretty much every parent faces at some point, but let's be honest, we rarely know exactly how to handle it. We're going to talk about why bystanders matter when it comes to bullying, and here's the really surprising part, how our totally natural protective parenting instincts might actually be accidentally silencing our kids. If you're trying to navigate the incredibly complex world of peer dynamics with your child, well, you are absolutely in the right place. Let's get into it. Okay, so picture this highly relatable scene. Your kid comes home from school, totally exhausted, drops their backpack on the floor, and casually mentions that something went down at lunch. A student was mocked, maybe a bunch of kids laughed, somebody pulled out their phone to record the whole thing, and your child, well, they tell you they just felt really uncomfortable, watched for a second, and walked away. They weren't involved. As a parent, sitting right there across from them at the kitchen table, your heart probably just drops. What on earth do you say next? Because you love them, right? You instinctively react with one of two major extremes. You might say, "Good, stay out of other people's problems," just hoping to keep them completely safe from the drama. Or, feeling this sudden surge of righteous justice, you might demand, "Wait, why didn't you stand up and stop it?" Honestly, both of those reactions make total sense. But here's the tough truth we really need to face. Both of those knee-jerk reactions, they actually miss the mark entirely. Without meaning to, they can force a child into absolute silence. A bystander isn't just someone who, quote-unquote, did nothing. Their mere presence can either throw gasoline on the fire or completely diffuse the bullying. So let's break down a few of the most common mistakes we make when we're just trying to guide them. First up is the demand for a heroic confrontation. Have you ever thought, or maybe even blurted out, if you were really brave, you would have stopped it? I know I've definitely felt that urge. But when we say things like that, we are dropping a massive, incredibly unfair burden right onto a kid's shoulders. We're essentially asking them to step into a highly volatile situation, maybe even against an entire group, all by themselves. When we demand that kind of heroism, we're taking a truly terrifying experience and turning it into a pass-fail test of your child's character. Look, a kid should never be expected to challenge a threatening group alone, confront someone genuinely dangerous, or risk serious retaliation just to prove to us that they're brave. Our goal isn't to measure their courage. Our goal is to equip them with a range of safe, actually effective options that help the targeted child without putting our own kid in harm's way. Which brings us to another really surprising pitfall, the assumption that by just standing there, your kid is just as guilty as the actual bullies. It's so incredibly easy to hear a story about a crowd of kids watching someone get picked on and think, well, they're all just as bad. But silence doesn't automatically mean they're guilty or that they approve of what's happening. Yes, some kids are absolutely just giving the bully an audience. But another child, they might genuinely care and just be literally frozen by fear, totally uncertain of what to do, or buckling under intense peer pressure. Maybe they're already socially vulnerable themselves. If we slap an unfair label like coward on them, we entirely shut down the chance to help them do better next time. We have to use precise language based on their actual behavior, not harsh labels. And this leads right into the classic never tattle rule. We have all heard, don't be a snitch. But there is a massive, absolutely crucial difference between tattling and reporting. Tattling is trying to get someone in trouble for something totally minor. Reporting is getting an adult to protect someone from actual harm. This is a game-changing reframe for kids who are terrified of being called a snitch. If someone is unsafe, getting an adult is the responsible thing to do. It is not tattling. Then, there's the promise we all desperately want to make. Your kid is scared, they're opening up, so you instinctively try to comfort them by saying, "Just tell me and I promise nobody will ever know." It feels like the right protective thing to do in the heat of the moment, doesn't it? The problem is, complete secrecy is literally impossible if a child is actually in physical danger, or if the school needs to step in to do an investigation. Instead of making a promise we absolutely cannot keep, we need to promise privacy instead. We can tell them, look, I will protect your privacy as much as I humanly can, but if someone is in real danger, adults have to step in, and I promise I will always tell you what I'm doing first. And let's be real, we live in a completely digital world now. Bullying doesn't just happen out by the swing set at recess. It's happening in group chats, on social media feeds, in gaming lobbies. A lot of times, a child might try to brush off a cyberbullying incident by saying, hey, I only watched the video, I didn't write anything. They honestly think that just scrolling by means they aren't involved. But online, watching is not a passive activity. Even just dropping a laughing emoji or a quick like rewards that behavior and spreads the humiliation like wildfire.
That is exactly why we need to teach our kids the digital pause. We have to teach them to not react, not forward it, and definitely, under no circumstances, join the pile-on. Instead, they should preserve the evidence, like taking a screenshot, without spreading it, and quietly check on the targeted kid later. We've got to teach them to consciously refuse to enlarge the audience.
The 5-level safe action ladder, practical steps for kids. So instead of demanding they act like a superhero, we give them this ladder. This lets them choose the safest step for them in that specific situation. Level 1, just do not reinforce it. Don't laugh, don't stare. Level 2, support quietly. Just send a nice text afterward or invite the excluded kid to sit with you. Level 3, interrupt indirectly by creating some kind of distraction. Level 4, get help from a trusted adult. And finally, level 5, object directly, but only, and I mean only, if they feel totally safe doing it. A child doesn't fail if they can't hit level 5. The whole point is simply to choose the safest action that reduces harm.
A practical 72-hour parent plan, your next steps.
Okay, so they have a safe ladder to climb, but when your child actually uses it and comes to you to report something, what's your move? You need a solid game plan for those crucial first few days. First, assess their immediate safety. Are there any urgent physical threats? Second, document the actual facts your child saw without fueling the neighborhood gossip mill. Third, pick one of those safe bystander actions together. Fourth, contact the school in writing to create a clear paper trail and ask for a safe reporting contact. And fifth, always circle back to make sure the bullying actually stopped.
And this really brings us to the core of this entire explainer. Bystander education actually backfires on us when we make kids feel like the bullying is somehow their fault for not being brave enough. The ultimate responsibility for creating a safe environment falls squarely on us, the parents, the schools, the adults, not the students. A child's safe action has to connect to an adult system that actually works and protects them from retaliation.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to chew on as we wrap up. Are we asking our children to be heroes when what they really need is for us to be the adults? Let's stop demanding impossible courage in really dangerous situations. Instead, let's equip them with realistic, safe choices, and let's step up to be the reliable adults they need when they finally do the right thing. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. I really hope this gives you some fantastic tools for your next kitchen table conversation.